Except for the beast's exact movement and current location, almost everything is open information, and I think that's a really smart approach. Hey everyone, this is Thecos. Today I'm happy to give you my review of Beast. This is a hidden movement 1 versus many games that you can play from 2 to 4 players. So what I have planned for today's video is to give you, first of all, a high-level overview over how the game plays, and then I will give you my review of the game. But before we get started, as usual, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's do this. All right, there we go. So before we get into the review, as I mentioned, I will first give you a quick high-level overview of how Beast is played. This is not meant to be like a full teach or rules explanation, but just enough so you understand the general idea of the game before I share my thoughts on it. As always, there are timestamps in the video so you can jump directly to the section you're most interested in. As usual, bonus points if you watch the entire video. What is Beast? Beast is a hidden movement 1 versus many board game. One player controls the beast, while the other players control a team of hunters. The beast is trying to kill enough settlers, animals, and sometimes hunters to complete its goals, while the hunters are trying to track it down and kill it before the end of the game. This always depends on the contract you're playing as, which is like the mission you have selected for the game. In this example here, the beast wins when 2 of these 3 settlers here are dead. The hunters win when the beast is dead or when the final night, which happens after 3 full rounds, is reached. So this is basically a cat and mouse game, but with asymmetric powers, hidden movement, deduction, and a shared card system. The game is played on a map full of different locations, connected by these little paths here. These locations have different terrain types, like forest, swamp, cave, or settlements. At the start, animals and settlers are placed on the board, as you can see here. We have sheep, we have boars, and also we have the bears. Then the beast starts in the center of the map, moves secretly to spaces before the hunters then enter the board from settlements here. Each game also uses that contract that I mentioned, which defines the scenario, rewards, and also the win condition. Regarding the roles, there are 2 sides. We have the beast. The beast is hidden most of the time. It moves secretly, and this is done by the beast player with like this cool small board here. There is like a little screen here with like the main rules that the beast needs. Here on the right would be the stack of cards, the stack of movement cards. And here it will track its movement with a pen, with a dry erase pen, and also with like a little token. It moves secretly, it kills animals and settlers to gain grudges, which are these small coins here. Uses unique abilities and may also summon creatures to help put pressure on the hunters. The hunters on the other side move openly on the map. They search for the beast, they follow trails, and they use items, place traps or watchtowers, and coordinate to corner the beast. Each beast and each hunter has their own character board and also unique ability cards. So both sides are very asymmetric. Each round is 1 day and has 3 phases that are all detailed here on the game board. We have Dawn, where players draft action cards for the day. Then we have the day, where players take turns using cards to move, search, attack, summon, or use special effects while taking turns. And then we have the night phase, where players check the contract rewards, they heal up, they may buy their upgrades on their player boards with grudges, the beast as well as the hunters, and then the round is over and we start a new round. At the start of each day, everyone drafts from the same action card deck. This is important because both sides draft from the same pool, but the cards work differently depending on who plays them. Hunters use the top half of an action card, while the beast uses the bottom half here. So drafting is already part of the mind game. You're not just picking useful cards for yourself, but also trying not to pass your opponent something too powerful. During the day phase, players take turns. On your turn, you can usually play up to 2 cards, depending on the symbols on them. Cards let you move, attack, search, gain items, summon creatures for the beast, for example, or trigger special abilities. It is important to know that you can play up to 2 cards, but they need to have different colors. You can see these different colored circles here, right? You cannot play 2 red ones. You need to play 1 red and 1 blue card. But you can also just play 1 card. That is also fine. Alternatively, you can pass. which means you skip your turn, but it will be your turn again unless everybody passes consecutively. Or you can also discard a card to flee one space, just to move one space. Basically, every meaningful action in the game is card driven. You don't just move or attack freely, you need the right cards at the right time. The beast movement is probably the most important mechanism. When the beast moves, it does not just move a standee on the board. Instead, the beast secretly places movement cards here on the right of the board face down. The beast standee only shows the beast's last known location. Its real location is hidden and determined by the face down movement cards. So the hunters always see where the beast was last revealed and how many movement it has done, but they don't know where it is now. The interesting thing is there are also movement cards that just say no movement at all. That means the beast can also stay in position, as you can see here. Whenever hunters move through places where the beast has been, the beast has to place these trail tokens here. These trail tokens give the hunters clues about the beast's path, where the beast has been or is currently. They do not reveal the beast directly, but they help the hunters reconstruct where it might have gone. So the hunters are basically reading the footprints and trying to work out the beast's route. Also, there is a mechanism where the hunters can build these watchtowers that also make trails appear as long as the hunter is on the same space. Hunters can use search effects in order to check whether the beast is at a certain location. If a hunter searches the beast's actual location, the beast is revealed. When this happens, the beast shows its movement cards, removes all the trails, and moves its standee to its actual location. Once revealed, the beast can be attacked. The beast also reveals itself when it attacks other beings. This is like the key tension of the game. The beast wants to strike, but attacking gives away its position every time. Attacks are also card-based. Usually an attack deals 1 damage, although upgrades and ancient power, which are these little swords, can increase that damage. Hunters can only attack the beast when it is revealed. They can also attack summons, which are the extra minions the beast can summon on the board. The beast can attack animals that are scattered here, settlers, the hunters, watchtowers, and so on. Killing animals and settlers is one of the main ways the beast can gain grudges and moves towards its win condition. If the beast ever dies, the hunters win immediately. Now let's talk about grudges. These are the main resource in the game. The beast mainly gains grudges by killing animals, settlers, and sometimes hunters. Hunters can gain grudges through contract rewards and certain cards. During the night phase, both sides can spend their grudges to unlock upgrades on their player boards, making their characters stronger over the course of the game, so the game continuously escalates. The longer it goes, the more dangerous both sides become, if played correctly. Hunters and beasts also can gain extra cards, which are one-time use cards and can include powerful tools like traps, in the case of the hunter items here. The beast, on the other hand, can gain beastly talents, which are also one-time use cards that give it special tricks or abilities. The beast may also have these summons here on the board, smaller creatures that can move, attack, or use special abilities. They help the beast pressure different parts of the map. Hunters can set traps right here in these zones. If a beast is later revealed in the right terrain type set by the hunter beforehand, within that zone the trap triggers. It can have different effects, letting the hunters move, making the beast suffer damage, and things like that. So, summarizing Beast in just a few sentences. Beast is a game of deduction and bluffing. The hunters are trying to interpret trails, predict the beast's movement, and coordinate their searches and attacks. The beast, on the other hand, is trying to mislead them, pick the right moment to strike and escape before being cornered. And that's really the heart of the game. The hunters are constantly trying to close in on the beast, while the beast is trying to stay one step ahead, strike at the right moment, and disappear again. So, now that we've seen a quick overview over how Beast works, what do I think of the game? Well, let me tell you. First of all, I really like the presentation of the game. The theme is very cool. Several hunters trying to track down and defeat a beast before the beast wreaks too much havoc. That premise is immediately engaging and it gives the game a strong identity. Also really like the components. I don't have the miniatures for the game, but even with the standees, the cards, and all the other components, everything looks and feels good. The game also comes with a very workable insert and double-layered boards, which is always great to see. What I especially like are these wooden meeples here for the animals and also the settlers. They are screen printed and look really nice on the board. I also enjoy that the locations and also the paths on the board have this slightly shiny finish, almost like a spot UV effect or glossy highlighting. It makes the board a lot easier to read and also gives it a nice table presence. Another clever component detail is that the screen for the beast can be inserted directly into this small beast board here. That is such a good idea. And you can really see that a lot of thought went into how the components are designed and how they function during play. There are also miniatures for the game, but I don't own those, so I can't really comment on their quality. Personally though, I think these standees are totally enough. They look and feel just fine enough. I wouldn't even need miniatures here, but if you're interested in that, there are miniatures available. The artwork is a real highlight for me. It reminds me slightly of Ryan Lauka's art style. Of course, it's way different, but it goes a little bit into that direction if you know what I mean. Like this hand-drawn style, and I really like that. Overall, the presentation of the game is just very strong. I also like that there is a route overview printed on the side of the board here. That's really useful, but unfortunately it is mainly readable for the beast play as it is sitting here on the south side. I think it would have been better to print on both sides of the board, pointing in different directions, so players on both sides of the table could read it easily. And while I think the board looks really great visually, it can feel a little bit cluttered at times. The paths between the locations are not always as easy to see as I would like them to be, and the same goes for some of the region names here. It looks beautiful, but readability could have been slightly better. Regarding gameplay, I think the game works very well. Both sides have access to the same general pool of cards during the draft, but then each side also had its own asymmetric ability cards, either hunter cards or beast cards. So there is this nice balance between a shared card system and unique powers on each side. I also really appreciate that the game makes a clear distinction between the 2, 3, and 4 player modes, especially when it comes to how the drafting works at the beginning of each round. There are also 2 maps included in the game, one for 2 or 3 players that you can see here, and on the other side one for 4 players, which is much larger. And each map also has like different contracts, which gives the game a nice amount of variety. I especially like the way the 2-player mode is handled. The hunter player controls 2 characters, but during the draft they only work with 1 hand of cards. That is later split after the drafting into 2 hands for the hunter. That makes the overhead much more manageable, instead of forcing one player to fully manage 2 completely separate hands during drafting. I think that's a very clever way to solve this problem. The drafting itself is very interesting, because each card has both hunter and beast ability clearly separated on it. That means you're not only drafting cards that are good for you, you can also look at what the card would do for the opponent and take it away from them, simply because you don't want them to have that effect. I think that's very clever. And yes, that actually comes up in the games that I play. And if you're someone who is good at memorizing cards, that can also be a small advantage. During the draft, you'll see quite a lot of the deck, so you can sometimes get a pretty good idea of what the other side might have available. You don't need to memorize everything to play well, of course. But if you can keep some of those cards in mind, it can definitely help. I am surely not one of those players. What's also interesting is how hidden movement works here. In Beast, the beast always knows where the hunters are, but the hunters don't know exactly where the beast is. That's different from a game like Terrorscape, for example, where the survivors know where the killer is, but the killer doesn't know where the survivors are. That change alone makes the 2 games feel very different, and I think both approaches work really well. The hunters do get clues, though. They can look for trails, and whenever the beast attacks a settler, hunter, or animal, it has to reveal itself, which makes complete thematic sense. That creates these great moments where the hunters suddenly have a point of reference and can start closing in. I find that this works very well and keeps the tension high. I'm a bit divided on the trail tokens themselves. On the one hand, they are a cool mechanism to show where the beast has been and give the hunters hints. Thematically, that works really well. On the other hand, if you want to use the correct tail token for a specific beast, you sometimes have to look through all the tokens to find the right one. Of course, you can't just take any token, but if you want to keep it thematic, that can be a little bit fiddly. I think it would have been easier if the tokens had shared fronts and backs with paired trail types, so you could find the right ones more quickly. Another thing I like is how you can upgrade your character during the night time, depending on how well you play during the day. If you were able to gain more grudge tokens, you can upgrade your hunter or your beast more, and all of that is open information. In fact, that is one of the things I find very interesting about this game. Except for the beast's exact movement and current location, almost everything is open information. Discarded cards are open information, upgrades are open information, and it gives the game a very particular feel. It's still hidden movement, of course, but it's not hidden in every possible way, and I think that's a really smart approach. The game is also very thematic in how the cards work. Many of the mechanisms make sense within the world of the game. For example, if a fire trap is triggered because the beast is revealed at that location, the beast takes damage. That makes sense. But a shrieker trap doesn't deal damage. Instead, it alerts the hunters and lets them move towards that location. That is such a nice thematic implementation, and I really appreciate when mechanisms and theme come together like that. All in all, Beast makes a very strong impression through its theme, art, and production, but also through the way it handles hidden movement. The Hunter vs. Beast premise is exciting. The components are well done, and I really appreciate how much thought went into the different player counts, the drafting system, and the balance between hidden and open information. The board can feel a little cut out at times, and the trade tokens are slightly fiddly if you want to keep everything thematic, but overall the game feels tense, thematic, and clever, with a lot of meaningful decisions on both sides. I really enjoy playing this game, and I will keep playing this in the future even after this review. Well, that concludes my overview and review of Beast. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking to the very end of this video. As usual, my thanks goes out to all of you. A special shout out to my generous patrons. The biggest thanks go to Thecos for supporting me at the highest tier. I truly appreciate that. You can also support me by watching, liking, and commenting on my videos, subscribing to my channel, support me on Patreon, and join my Discord server to hang out with me and my amazing community. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the very next video or my Discord server. Take care everyone, stay safe, and cheers.